Hello everyone. So today I'm here with the fifth part of chapter 1 history class 10, that is the rise of nationalism in Europe. And in our last video, as we studied about how the revolutionaries started fighting against the conservative people, or the people who are forming conservatism, this part, that is the age of revolutions 1830-48, is an extension of how those revolutionaries fought against them, and in different countries how it turned out. May it be Poland or Ireland or Greece or Italy, where people were like forming groups, and nationalist feelings were there, especially in the educated elite people, and how they fought for that. So we'll study about that. So let's start. So the first is about the July Revolution. It's a very famous incident in the history of Europe. Not only in the history of Europe, in world history we study it as a very famous incident. Now this took place in France to start with. The first upheaval, that is in France in July 1830. And what happened is the liberal nationalists, they overthrew, as in the Bourbon kings, whom were restored, the Bourbon kings who were restored after the 1815 treaty. They were overthrown, by the liberal revolutionaries, and in place of them, Louis Philippe, that was another member of the royal kingdom, but he was like more supporting or towards the side of the nationalists, and opposed to the conservatism, as in the practice of conservatism. So he was installed as the head of the constitutional monarchy. Means a monarchy where there will be a constitution, constitution will be followed. And this revolution came to be known as July Revolution, and not only in France, but it affected many other parts of Europe. One such place was Belgium, which was actually a part of Netherlands, United Kingdom of Netherlands. But in Brussels, which is now the capital, there some of the revolutionaries, they came up and they protested, and means they tried to form, as in Belgium, as a separate nation state. And that is what happened, as in Belgium was made into a separate nation state. So seeing all this, or actually before only, Metternich, he remarked once that when France sneezes, the rest of the Europe catches cold. What does that mean? It means that when something happens in France, it affects the rest of the Europe. Why? Because during that time, France was like the center of Europe, and people used to like look up to France, so they used to follow France, in different aspects. So that is why what happened and what started in France, it affected rest of the parts of Europe also. Few such more such examples we will get here. So in the next, that is the Greek War of Independence. Greece was another such country where these things started happening around that time. So the Greek War of Independence, to give you a small backstory, Greece, the country, it was under the Ottoman Empire earlier. Middle East, Turkey, present day Turkey, and all those countries it constituted. So the educated elite people of Europe, they were the high society people, as in, and who were like comparatively more educated. They mobilized national feelings among them, and they were like, no, we have to fight for our country, and we want Greece as a separate entity. So that is what happened, and Greece got a lot of support from Western Europe and the Greeks who have exiled to other countries, from them also. So it all started in around 1821, and they started fighting against the Ottoman. Greece got a lot of support for one more reason, because it was called as the cradle of European civilization. Cradle means, as in Hindi, it is called the jhula, where the baby is put. So why cradle? Because Greece is a very ancient country. They have a very ancient history of civilization. So they are regarded as the origin of European civilization. Okay, so that is why it had the emotional sympathy from all the countries, and especially because it was against a Muslim empire. Ottoman Empire was a Muslim empire, so there were clashes between these two communities at that time. So they got a lot of support, and finally the Treaty of Constantinople in 1832 was signed, which gave Greece the entity of a separate independent nation. Okay, Constantinople is the same place which we now know as Istanbul. Okay, one of the big cities of Turkey. So there it was signed, and it was decided, okay, now Greece will be a separate country altogether. Okay, that is how the Greek War of Independence came to become an an important chapter of European history. Moving forward, the romantic imagination and the national feeling. Now here romantic imagination has nothing to do with the romance which we talk about generally in movies and all, or in life, but it is about romanticism is a cultural movement in which the people support the idea of individual development, and they are in support of feelings and intuitions, and opposed to like reason, science, rationality, or industrialization, all these things. So those people were the romantics, or the romantic movement supporter, romanticism supporters. Okay, so it came, actually culture here played a very important part, and this movement was also a cultural movement. So art, poetry, stories, and music started, people started writing these and performing these things as a way of showing their nationalist emotions and all. Okay, and many famous romantics, such as this person called Johann Gottfried Herder. He was a German philosopher. He also claimed that the true German culture is in the Das Volk. Das Volk, as in German, it means the common people, their life, the folk songs, folk poetry, folk dances. These can help the people come together and have a national identity, common identity, which can make them more strong when they fight against or fight for their national or nation states. Okay, so that's why more emphasis was given to vernacular language as in the local language. Okay, and local folklore as in stories, kisse, kahaniya, all these things, local stories and all, to carry the nationalist message everywhere. Why? Because at that time everyone was not educated, everyone was not literate. Okay, even in Germany or any other European country. So to spread a message, the official language cannot help you. What will help you is the local language. So that's why they were using the local languages, vernacular languages. And especially in case of Poland, where Russia was means Russia, Prussia, Austria, they partitioned Poland. At that time it was not even a separate independent country. Okay, even there nationalist feelings were kept alive by what? Music, language, all these things. One such small details or case is given here, as in how language played a very important role in these terms. So the role of language. Now language played a very important role, okay, in this movement or developing nationalist sentiments. So as I told, Poland was occupied by Russia, and what the Russians were doing, they are trying to impose their language, Russian language, everywhere. Okay, even in schools they were like replacing Polish language with as in Russian language. They were forcing, basically. So what happened in 1831? One armed rebellion, as in protest, happened done by the Polish people, okay, the people of Poland, which was crushed because Russians were very powerful. But after that, people started resisting by using Polish language. What did they do? Like the clergy, the clergy in Poland, they used Polish language in all the church gatherings, in religious instructions. Whenever giving religious instructions, they will use Polish language. As a result, what happened, these Russian people, no, they were very angry with them, so they put all these priests and bishops and all in jail, or they were sent to Siberia, like extreme parts of Russia, north of the world. So they were sent there as punishment because they refused to preach in Russian language. Okay, so these punishments were done, but the message got spread that the use of Polish language became a symbol of struggle against the Russian dominance. People were using Polish language, that we will use our language, we won't use your language. So that was a way of showing the resistance. Okay, so this was it, how what happened in revolutions and how people showed their nationalist feeling against the rulers, or the people who were doing something ruthless against them. So I hope you understood. If you have any confusion, please do comment in the section. I will come up with all the queries of yours. And if you like the video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.